What's up guys, Cardfight here, and today I will be doing an all-new deck profile on the Royal Paladin Clotenus Brave deck profile. So yeah, many of you guys have been asking me, so does Clotenus work well with the Brave engine, aka Chasing in Heaven? Yes, it does work well, however, it is a very completely different deck because of how the keyword Brave is instilled into this card, which actually gave it a bit of problems while I had to build the deck. But however, I actually found a way to utilize some cards so that you can trigger a brave effects. All right. So is this deck worth building? Yes, definitely worth building. If you're like me, a Royal Paladin user, and you can't stop using Royal Paladins, and you want to play something fresh sometimes, I highly recommend this deck. It is very cheap. Don't let the generation rare fool you because its price has been dropping a lot, and high chance that we can buy this off place easily since no one tends to play this deck. I'm probably the only player that actually tries to play this, and actually had very good results with it, and I had fun with it. Alright, what is the strength of this deck is Clotenus at first strike allows you to fetch a unit, and its following strikes also allows you to fetch even more units. First strike being 1, second strike if you flip Altmile up, you can fetch 2 units. If you flip itself up, you can fetch 3, and you can just strike. First strike 1. Second strike, you can search 2, because you have 2 face-up Clotenus. The final strike, you can search up to 3 units. So, in a way, the reason why this card has the Brave keyword is because it is able to plus 3 instantly, which is a bit broken if it doesn't have any restrictions. So, all you need to do is just tweak your deck a bit so that it's more Brave focused in order to pull off its plus 3. So alright, let me go into the deck profile and explain how the deck works. This is definitely a very interesting Royal Paladin deck that I advise you guys that have, if you've finally completed a Royal Paladin and want to try something out, try something fun to play your friends, definitely go for this build. Alright, this is a Brave build, so definitely I'll be using 4 Altmiles because Altmiles is still needed for the keyword, for its name, to trigger a lot of effects in the deck. So 4 copies Altmile. Altmile's skill is GB2. As long as GB2, your front row gains 5k power when it attacks. So great as a finisher if you run out of strides. Second skill is whenever you perform strike, you may count +1. If you do, select up to 2 cards from your hand and call it to your field. And then after that, you can choose 2 units on your field and gain plus 5k power. So note that you do not need to call any units and still get that 5k power. So yeah. Great skill, +1, power up 2 units to knock off additional cards of your opponent's hands. Mostly needed because of Transcending Heavens for finisher, and I believe Slayman also requires you to have Altmile Vanguard. Alright, 4 copies of Altmile, fantastic card. 4 copies of the new Brave Girl. Yeah, she's also brave. Her skill is while it's brave, when her attack hits, you may count +1. If you do, search your deck for grade 2 and superior card to the Rearguard circle, and it gives us 2k power. So this deck, this is a really good Rearguard in this deck because high chance you're gonna get the Brave ability off since you'll be triggering Brave most of the time with some cards I'll be explaining later. So when your attack hits, you can superior call 1. So you can choose what to superior call. So this is pretty good. It's a pressure card and 11k base. So you put it behind the Brave booster, it becomes a magic column of 15k. It's either opponent drop additional cards off his hand or take that 1 and allow you to superior call 1 additional card for additional attack, which is fantastic. So I only use her because this is a Brave heavy deck, so she works really well in a Rearguard circle. It's a both Vanguard and Rearguard skill. Alright, for grade 2s, we play 4 copies of Beggar. I find that Beggar is not the MVP of Royal Paladins since he is the only recruiter left in the deck which is not a GB and allows you to fetch out allows you to build field early game. His skill is when this card is placed on the Rearguard circle, you may counter +1. If you do, search a deck for a card which is 6k power and call it behind it. You can only call it at the same column. So yeah, very good card because this guy is very important for you to called Energy Charger, which is the way you can trigger your Brave. And of course, if you're playing my Altmile build, you'll be looking for Miron. This deck won't use Miron because most likely we're gonna be using Energy Charger to trigger a Brave. Next is 3 copies of Sulaiman. the grade 2 lineup could actually be whatever you want. You could play 2 Slimans or 3 Twin Swords. I just play whatever I want, I guess. Sliman's skill is whenever it's Brave, Brave plus 3k power, so it's a 12k beat stick during Brave. 12k for Brave, pretty decent. You might have to use him because high chance you're gonna have a 6k booster behind, so you need at least 11k attacker in the front row. Second skill is when this unit attacks the Vanguard as a regard, GB1. If you have a Altmile Vanguard, when he attacks the Vanguard, you can Counter Blast 1 and discard 1 card off your hand. If you do, search your deck for grade 2 and superior card to the Vanguard Circle, and the unit gains plus 2k power. So it is a Knight of Twin Swords with an extra discard cost because it doesn't need to be boosted. So in certain situations, it is better, and in certain situations, Twin Swords better. But I kind of like him because he has the 11k base power, 12k base power with this deck, and this deck doesn't really need to depend a lot on the Twin Swords because you'll be calling so many units using the Clotenus skill. So I just use him for the 12k power mostly, and the superior core if I need to push for game. 2 copies of Twin Swords. Same, when this unit is boosted, Counter Blast 1. When this unit is boosted and it attacks the Vanguard, you can Counter Blast 1. If you do superior core or grade 2 from a deck, so additional attacks, very good, especially for your Transcending Heaven push. 2 copies of Knight of Fragment. When you control 2 or more Regards, he gains plus 2k power and a skill. When this unit attack hits the Vanguard, you can counter charge 1 and soul charge 1. So it's great because this deck eats quite a bit of Counter Blast, and of course it eats Soul Blast as well for Clotenus skill. And it's 11k base, so it's fantastic. Works really well on the deck. Alright, for grade 1s, I'm going to put this one side first. One sec. Alright, for grade 1s, we play 4 copies of the Strike Helper. Mostly used because you wanna go into your Altmile. So when you call this card onto your Vanguard Circle, you reveal a grade 3 on your hand. If you do, search your deck for Altmile. Important. And you can discard for Strike. Since it's a Strike deck, definitely play 4. Now this is the part where the whole engine of the deck comes in. 4 copies of Energy Charger, aka Tetsuku. His skill is Activate. You may retire this guy, select a number of the cards in your hand and put them into your bind zone. So you can select, so let's say you wanna have 3 or less hand size to trigger your Brave. So for Clotenus skill, you can remove cards in your hand until you left 3, 2, 1, any amount, and retire this guy. So retire, bind a number of cards in your hands until you have like 1 if you want to trigger Brave, or 0 even if, I don't know why. Maybe after you want to get 0 because after triple drive you still maintain the Brave. So sometimes if you want to go for 0, you can just remove all of them. At the end of the turn, you can draw 1 card and add those cards in the bind zone back to your hand. So this is great because it triggers your Brave, and most likely he is being recruited by Bannon. It's because it's a 6k called Bannon. So when you strike into Clotenus, remove cards in your hand. Clotenus skill core, and return all those cards back into your hand and draw 1 free card. So it is quite good. It's something very fun to play with. Yeah, I've been testing this deck around and I kind of like it. It's definitely a budget Royal Paladin deck, but it is only if don't try to build this deck unless you've completed the Brave deck, because this deck is mostly for fun. Yeah. Next is 4 copies of G Perfect Guards. G Perfect Guards is awesome in this deck because it allows you to counter charge, and counter charge is very important. And what I like to do sometimes is, if you watch some of my videos, my fights, I've actually used this combo which I call Bannon. Okay, it was Clotenus. Clotenus skill, somehow, I believe it was like this during a turn. Use skill, remove, can active trigger Brave. I think I had this. Yeah, something like that. Call. A Clotenus skill, call him. His skill, that was this first strike by the way. Call him, then call Perfect Guard. Then since I already have Brave, go to Soul. End turn, return to hand. So you can use a Perfect Guard the end turn. So if the reason why I don't play the Brave Perfect Guard is because it really eats too much Counter Blast, and I find that it's not really good because Counter Blast is very important for pushing for game. So I've definitely encourage you guys to get the unflippable perfect guards. But if you want to use the Brave one, it's fine by me. I mean, there's no right or wrong. So 4 perfect guards and 2 copies of Desert Runner. When you control Altmile Vanguard, you have 3 or less hand size. It's a 10k booster, very good. And in the deck, while you control Altmile Vanguard, it is a +1 grade. So it is great because you can still call out with Clotenus skill if you strike above Altmile Hut. So yeah, this guy is just a backup grade 2 to search. If you run out of grade 2 to search, you can just call this guy. Alright, let's go on to triggers. Brave, the reason why I played stand triggers in for this deck, you don't really need to play stand triggers because because draw triggers actually work fine since you have this guy to nullify the fact that you have a lot of hand size. So yeah, so my lineup will be pretty standard, same as my Altmile deck. 8 crits, 4 draws for survival, and 4 heals. Heals for obviously G guards, so we're gonna max them out now. 1 copy of starter, Brave. You may put this guy in your soul. If you do, select 1 unit on your field and it gains us 5k power, and at the end of the turn, bounce it back to your hand. So most of the time, we're gonna be bouncing back our perfect guards. You got PG on your hand. If you want to rush early game, GB1, just call it, power up, slap opponent. It's 11k slap, and just return back to your hand. So handy card here because it helps you push harder. Alright, let's go on to the G zone now. First is 4 copies of Clotenus. Divine Knight of Rainbow Brocade Clotenus. By the way, brocade is apparently a cloth. So yeah, the one my friend CJ mentioned that this is the Beggar's deck. Now I understand why, because imagine it's like the Alibaba in the 17th style, and ooh, I'm so handless, I'm like very poor, so we call it the Beggar deck. Yeah, this is the Beggar deck. Thanks for the joke, bro. Alright. Clotenus skill is activate once per turn, Brave. So you can only activate this if you have 3 or less hand size. Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1 and choose a face down card in your G zone and turn it face up. So you could turn up anything, even Altmile. If you want to go transcending the next turn, you can get a 4k boost, or most of the time the first strike you're definitely gonna flip yourself up. Alright, so what it does is search a deck for up to the same number of grade 2 cards. Search a deck for the number of grade 2 cards equals to the number of Brocade Clotenus face up on the G zone. So most of the time, first strike, we're gonna have a first one flip up, so like a superior call 1. Second one, we really have 2, so we can either go for 2 or go for 3. And call it to your Reguard Circle. And GB3, if you have 5 more Reguards, this unit gives us 10k power and 1 crit. So during your second strike onwards, he has a crit and plus 10k, so it's very good. So opponent have got even harder. So what the charm of this card is actually just due to the fact that it's he's just able to recruit units for basically 1 Counter Blast and 1 Soul Blast, which is very, very good. Then otherwise, you can still always go for your Altmile, because I play 4 copies of Aerial Divine Altmile. Altmile is still one of the best Royal Paladin strides. His ability is, when this card is placed on the Vanguard Circle, flip a copy of yourself face up. If you do, your front row gives us 3k power, and then if you have 2 or more face up G cards, you can search a deck for grade 2 and superior call to your Reguard Circle, and it gives us 5k power. So it's very good. No Counter Blast, superior call one card. And superior calling 1 card in this deck means you can go on to superior call even more cards. So this is why Altmile is freaking amazing. Next is 3 copies of Transcending the Heavens. Alright, Transcending Heaven is also one very, very powerful finisher in this deck. Since you'll be using Clotenus early game, most high chance you're gonna be using Clotenus as a finisher. Alright, his skill is activate once per turn, GB2, Counter Blast 1 and flip up card. And if you have an Altmile Hut, flip up a card in your G zone and he gains an ability. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, you may superior call on grade 2 from your deck onto your Reguard Circle, and it gains its 5k power. So additional call means additional attacks, so it's freaking amazing. Second skill is for each Altmile Aerial Divine Knight Altmile in the G zone face up, the front row gives us 2k power. So yeah, it's a very nice boost. So 3 copies as finisher, and 1 copy of Guardblade just in case shit happens. Most of the time, we're going to be striding to Brocade first anyway, so it's not really that important. You could play any strides if you want. Next is the G Guards, 4 copies of laser dragons. When this card's in the Guardian Circle, you control a grade 2 rear guard against plus 5k shield. So it's a 20k if you have a grade 2. Very easy to pull off. Definitely one of my favorite G Guardians. And 1 copy of this anti-Vermilion Dimension Police. She has the resist ability, so she can't be retired by guard break. And when this card enters the Guardian Circle, you may select one card on the field. It cannot be targeted and attacked by opponents. So it's very good because if your opponent's Dimension Police units were to attack your rear guard, knowing that you have a G per guard, you can use her. Protect the rear guard, so your opponent's Commander Laurel will not be able to restand since the attack is nullified. Since my monster won't die, so it's very, very good. It actually gives problems. It actually makes Dimension Police players that play Laurel think twice when attacking rear guards. So it's a fantastic card. So I hope you guys enjoy my deck profile on my Royal Paladin Clotenus Brave deck. Be sure to add me on Facebook and subscribe to my channel for more awesome deck profiles. I'll be doing Link Joker on soon. Peace out and love you guys. Rawr.